Rumors of gold in the Colorado Rocky Mountains had been speculated for years, until French fur trapper Eustace Carrier got separated from his party in the Rockies in 1835. Wandering for weeks in search of his trapper companions, during his time in the high country, Carrier found a number of gold deposits, which he later took back to New Mexico for a full assay examination. The outcome indicated that his gold strikes were high quality and pure. In response, Carrier led an expedition back to where he had unearthed his placer gold strikes, only the party came up bust when Carrier failed to accurately remember any of the locations from his earlier strikes. In terms of gold rush history in America, 50 years before the California gold rush, the first gold rush began in 1799 after a 12-year-old boy named Conrad Reed unearthed a 17-pound gold nugget in Cabarrus County, North Carolina, northeast of Charlotte. Within months after the find, more than 30,000 miners were prospecting the Tar Heel State, producing enough gold that the U.S. Mint used North Carolina gold to issue all gold coins into the U.S. economy for the next 30 years to come. A half-century later, on January 24, 1848, New Jersey carpenter James Wilson Marshall spotted flakes of gold along the banks of the American River in Coloma, California, which is a major snowmelt tributary at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains. At the time of his discovery, Marshall had been building a water-powered sawmill for John Sutter, a German-born Swiss citizen who founded the colony of Nueva Helvetia, or New Switzerland, which would later become the city of Sacramento. "It made my heart thump," Marshall recalled of his discovery some years later, "for I was certain it was gold." In a remarkable twist of fate that altered a nation's push for westward expansion, just days after Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill, the Mexican-American War ended with the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which handed present-day California, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona to the United States for a payment of $15 million. Despite Marshall and Sutter's best attempts to keep their find a secret, word got out by mid-March, when at least one newspaper reported that large quantities of gold had been unearthed at Sutter's Mill. The little town of San Francisco was first to feel the frenzy, when store owner and newspaperman Sam Brannan paraded the streets with a vial of gold he collected at Sutter's Mill. And by mid-June, shops and businesses were shuttered after 3/4 of the male population of San Francisco fled the city in search of gold. By August, the city was quickly overwhelmed by the arrival of 4,000 mainly international miners from Hawaii, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and China. President James K. Polk furthered the spread of gold fever domestically when he detailed a report made by California's military governor, Colonel Richard Mason, stating that the accounts of abundance of gold are of such an extraordinary character as would scarcely command belief were they not corroborated by the authentic reports of officers in the public service. After Polk's announcement, the race was on in earnest, as mostly male fortune seekers borrowed money, mortgaged their properties, or spent their life savings to make the arduous journey west. Thousands of would-be gold miners, known as 49ers, traveled overland across the nation or by sea, sailing to Panama or even around Cape Horn, the southernmost point of South America. For those who chose a route through Panama, passengers arrived at the Isthmus of Panama from the Atlantic side, followed by a 20-day trip to the Pacific side of the nation before boarding a second clipper ship for the sail north to California. In early spring of 1850, John Beck led a party of mostly experienced Cherokee placer miners from the Georgia Gold Rush to the California motherlode of the Sierra Nevada mountains, crossing into present-day Denver, Colorado, on June 22nd of that same year. Making camp near the confluence of Cherry Creek and the South Platte River, Lewis Ralston panned 1/4 of a troy ounce of gold worth $5 or about $600 in today's currency. And while Ralston was thrilled by his find, his unimpressed travel mates pushed on to California the following morning. Remaining behind to try his luck at various parts along both waterways, after several days of futile panning, he abandoned his search before catching up with the rest of his party. Meanwhile, out in California, Georgian William Greenberry, known as Green Russell, worked his claim in the high Sierras, and when he accompanied his Cherokee wife to a tribal event, he heard about Ralston's discovery along the South Platte River back in Colorado, which was then part of the Kansas-Nebraska territory. Organizing a party to prospect the South Platte River, Russell set off with 2 of his brothers and 6 other companions in February of 1858, pushing west along the Santa Fe Trail as a steady stream of gold seekers joined his party along the way, eventually topping out at 107 men. Reaching the confluence of Cherry Creek in the South Platte on May 23rd, the group struck out until the first week of July, when Russell and Sam Bates unearthed a placer deposit near the mouth of Little Dry Creek, yielding 20 troy ounces worth $380, or $44,000 in today's currency. The discovery soon headlined newspapers back east, including the Kansas City Journal of Commerce, whose August 26th headline read, "The New El Dorado, Gold in Kansas." The news sent many Americans into yet another gold frenzy, prompting some 100,000 people to pack up their belongings and head for the Rockies, including 29-year-old David F. Spain of South Bend, Indiana, who headed west with 7 other Hoosiers in 1859. Reaching Colorado in late April, the partners built a cabin and set to work prospecting. Monday, May 2nd, we're getting along quite nicely in our cabin, which is far better than camping. Got about 10 cents for a half-day's hard washing. If it don't pay a bit, we shall try the mountains. Thursday, May 5th. Today, Will Dewey and myself have been running a sluice, washed out the enormous sum of $3.80, half of which we get to keep, being 95 cents each. This sluicing is what I term labor. Sunday, May 8th. This morning finds me feeling bluer than any time since I left home. I am real homesick. The boys got in from the mountains and report good diggings. Now we have to pack our provisions 30 miles farther over the worst kind of mountain road. I am worn out from hard travel. Thursday, May 12th. Still at work on our cabin, which is more of a job than we expected, as it is or will be the first mansion in the place. We claim the right of naming it, so I proposed Hoosier City as an appropriate name from the fact of its being built by Hoosier boys. Now for a night's lodging in our half-built cabin. Friday, May 20th. Washed out $21 yesterday. Been putting the old machine through on the fast line today and have done considerably better, taking out $70. Sunday, May 22nd. I awoke this morning as expected, quite unwell. It makes me feel blue, for how can I afford to be sick when John and Will are both ailing? I feel the want of my wife more when sick than at any other time. Wednesday, May 25th, our lower claim kinda gave out, so we tapped our upper claim and got $5 in our first pan. We ran the sluice all afternoon and took $294. Thursday, May 26th, today we worked like bucks, and by the powers of mud, we took out of old Mother Earth $430. Well, to say we all felt good don't do the subject justice. Hurrah for the Hoosiers! Friday, May 27th, $495. May 28th, $340. Sunday, May 29th, sold our lower claim today for $3,500. Saturday, June 25th, I kept cabin today while the boys went up on the mountain and cut timber to board up the sides of our claim. This evening I expected a sure thing on getting a letter from Ella, but none came, and I know I never felt more disappointed. Monday, July 4th. 4th of July in the Rocky Mountains. Who would have supposed that I should be so fortunate as to celebrate the 83rd anniversary of American independence in this wild romantic spot by firing 15 rounds from our revolvers. The first year of the boom was largely concentrated at the base of the Rocky Mountains, along the South Platte River and in the canyon of Clear Creek in the mountains west of Golden City, as well as near boomtowns like Breckenridge and in South Park at Como, Alma, and Fairplay. While Denver City, Golden City, and Boulder City grew into substantial towns that served miners and their supply needs, leading to the creation of the Colorado Territory in 1861, followed by statehood in 1876. Using the motto Pikes Peak or Bust, 59ers as they were known, a nod to the 49ers a decade earlier, became the first significant non-native immigrants into the Rocky Mountain region, creating the second largest mining excitement in U.S. history. The Colorado Gold Rush also witnessed the birth of many smaller boomtowns, and while some are still in existence, others became ghost towns after the frenzy was over. The Colorado Gold Rush reached its peak in 1859, thanks to George Jackson's discovery of a substantial placer deposit near present-day Idaho Springs, followed by John Gregory's discovery of lode gold near Black Hawk in the summer of 1859. Quickly renamed Gregory Gulch, Gregory's initial discovery, soon to be the site of the Central City Mining District, quickly became known as the richest square mile on Earth. After placer deposits were largely exhausted by 1861, attempts at hydraulic lode mining, a highly successful technique during the California Gold Rush, proved mostly unattainable due to the Rockies' steep terrain and harsh winter conditions. At the same time, amalgamation mills could not recover gold from the deeper sulfide ores, further leading to the death of a short-lived gold rush. After the end of the Civil War, however, Eastern investors turned their attention to the region in the form of in situ and pit mining. By the 1870s, Colorado's gold rush days were over, infusing some 1.25 million ounces of gold into the American economy, of which 60% was placer gold, leading Congress to establish the Denver Mint. On the downside, however, the environmental impact of the Colorado Gold Rush proved to be substantial and long-lasting, disrupting river ecosystems throughout the Rockies, while the days of hydraulic mining led to extensive soil erosion and sedimentation. Hungry for wood to build boomtown infrastructures while providing a fuel source for mining operations, deforestation became another environmental blight, leaving the region dotted with mining scars that can still be seen to this day. Despite these negative impacts, the gold rush contributed substantially to the development of mining technology and practices that influenced the mining industry for years to come, while the construction of railroads into the region connected Colorado to national markets, leading to steady economic growth, making the Colorado Gold Rush a time of boom or bust during the final years of a nation's push for westward expansion. And there you have it, the Colorado Gold Rush, today on the Daily Dose. Today's Daily Dose documentary is brought to you by Plato'sPeach.com, a lesson planning tool leveraging content like this and much more for educators and homeschooling parents. Check out the description for more information so that you too can teach something new every day.